Hello once again, grade 12s. We are going to continue with investment and banking and all that, but we are looking at inflation today. What is inflation? This is week 2, lesson 2. Now let me also say, this is the last pre-recorded lesson of the week, because what I want you guys to do at the end of this lesson, there's going to be 3 questions of homework to do. I want you to focus on your homework, and then by the end of the week I will send you the memo, and then you can mark your own work. I will also send you a video memo so that you can understand how things were done. So it's not going to be posted this week because I want to give you a chance to correct your work and to try and challenge yourself, and then it will be posted a little bit later so that you can then catch up with just to try and see, did I get it right, where did I go wrong, and then it will be uploaded by the time you have got all your work sorted. Okay, so let's go into inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is the increase in the price of goods over time and is sometimes represented as graphs. For instance, South Africa has an inflation rate. So as everything goes up, so they say bread prices are going to go up, fuel prices are going to go up, everything that we buy nowadays, everything that we need, that we pay money for, it's the change of price over time. So it's going to increase. And that is inflation. Everything increases over time. However, we also get salary increases. Now, some companies get salary increases once a year. Some companies just don't pay their employees interest. So everything goes, they don't pay them, what do they call it? An increase. They don't give them an increase. So every year, food prices go up, everything goes up, but our salaries, some people's salaries stays the same, other people's increases, and it goes up with inflation. And so you can understand that now the buying power of my 100 rand, if I did not get an increase, gets less, because now my 100 rand must now stretch further. So if bread goes up by 10 rand, petrol goes up by 10 rand, that's already a 20 rand increase, and I got no increase in my salary. So for people who do get increases, that's wonderful. For people that don't get increases, they suffer. Later on in this presentation, you will see a statement being made that inflation hurts the poorer much more than the richer. Richer people does not feel inflation, because it doesn't matter whether everything goes up, their amount of income that they have is still amazing. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to get a little bit political now. These government workers up there in Parliament, MPs, they don't feel inflation. So when they don't give increases, then they don't feel it. The poorer people feels it. Okay, but anyway, let's go on. Remember the following points about calculating inflation. Inflation is calculated from January of one year to January of the next year. So in other words, we're going to look at an example of bread price. This year, the bread price, say today, bread price where I buy is about, say, let's round it off to 11 rand. Some breads are 12 rand, some breads are 11 rand, some breads are 10 rand. So let's round it off to about average 11 rand. Today is April 2022. In April 2023, bread is not going to cost 11 Rand anymore. It might cost 15 Rand. So it might go up by 3 Rand. So that is inflation, and it is shown as a percentage. So let's have a look here. Inflation is reported backwards to calculate the 2007 inflation rate, the 2006 values, and 2007 has to be used. So in other words, the example I just gave you now, it's 2023 versus 2022. So the change in price, what will it be? It's going to be, I'm estimating 15 Rand 2023, and now it is 11 Rand. So it went up by 4 Rand. So the change in price, 4 Rand over what the price is today, which is 11 Rand. So it's 4 Rand over 11 Rand. So if I had to calculate that, 4 divided by 11 times 100 is 36% increase, which is quite a big increase. Okay, so maybe it won't be as much. Inflation is presented as a percentage in order to compare various figures, and here we're going to look at a graph now. So they've got this bread, this loaf of bread in the background, the prices of brown bread. And if you look here at the bottom, here's January 2006, January 2007. And there in 2006 it was 4 Rand 45. In 2007 it was 4 Rand 62. So here they say 462, which is the new price minus the old price, last year's price. So this is 2007, that's 2006. So 2007 minus 2006 divided by 2007's price. Okay. Oh, sorry, the old price. Okay, maybe that's why I was wrong earlier. So it was 4 Rand divided by, yes, the old price, which is 11. I was right. Okay. I was just calculating it again. So here, so this price here from 4 Rand 45 to 4 Rand 62 in a year is a 3.8% increase, right? So if you look at this slope here now, it's a bit of a shallow slope. It's not steep. It doesn't go up fast. It's a steady increase. Then it goes up a little bit more. Then it's a steep increase there. Then it's shallow again. Then it's steep. Then it comes down. So you need to look at the slopes. So now look here. They've worked out the percentage for every one of these brackets. So here, in this year, the increase was 3.8. In these 2 years here, between 2007 and 2008, 2009, it was a very steep increase. See there, okay? Between 2009 and 2010, it was another shallowy kind of, it was a lower percentage. So you see here, it's going up. It increases a lot there, but here decreases down to like 3%. There's a 36% increase. So the highest inflation rate was between January 2007 and January 2008. The difference was the highest. Now it's interesting to note, if you look at this graph, it's going up, 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 and then slightly down. Now all this ups, it's still increasing, but my inflation percentage came down quite a bit, okay, which means it was a very big jump in this year, but a very low jump in this year, okay. So it's interesting to note that even though my graph is still increasing, it's this percentage that is different every month, okay. And there was quite a big decrease. So let's look at these numbers here. Number 2, the very high increase, the largest increase in price. If you look at these graphs, you can see this section is the steepest slope. price graph, steepest upward slope. Inflation graph is the highest value here. That's the highest value. The smallest increase in price is the shallowest upward slope. So it's like where this is very shallow, almost a straight line, which looks like it's this one. That one goes a bit steeper. This one is also very, very shallow. So it might even be this one here that was the lowest. Yes, it is. In actual fact, this comes down. But it's the shallowest upward slope, the lowest value. Decreases in price, number 4 here. When it decreases in price, you can see that downward slope, it's a negative value. You see the negative 1.9%. And then the downward slope on an inflation graph, this bottom one, when it comes down like that, this indicates that the rate of inflation is decreasing, although the actual price of the bread is still increasing, right? It just says that the slope is more shallow. There it's a steep slope, here's a shallow slope. So that is what this shows. I hope you understand. Just figure it out, read through it, and I'm going to upload this video and another teacher doing this inflation, explaining it all. So you've got 2 teachers, myself and somebody else, to explain it to you. Right, so here we go. Inflation rates inform salary negotiations. What does that mean? It tells the employers, people who employ you, if inflation rate is 7%, then they should give you an increase of about 7% so that you can cope with your money more. Remember earlier on I spoke about if I don't get an increase and yet the bread price went up by 10 Rand, the oil price went up by 10 Rand, this went up by 10 Rand, everything goes up by 10 Rand and I don't get an increase, then the value for my money that I get is much less, because now I'm getting less for the amount of money that I have to spend. In other words, if before I could buy a loaf of bread from a 10 Rand, now I can only buy half a loaf of bread from a 10 Rand, because so my value for money decreases because I did not get an increase as inflation goes. So what this is saying is they decide on salaries. They discuss how much the salary must increase based on inflation rates. The reported inflation rate is calculated as an average increase for a total of 5,000 goods and services, not just one item. Example, the price of brown bread is only one of the 5,000 items, which is average. So it's bread and petrol and rice and potatoes, and it's just a whole 5,000. They work that out. Okay, so say a person earns 16,750 per month and has the following living expenses: for transport, petrol, groceries, medical insurance, car insurance, electricity, clothing, accommodation, rental. Now if you look at all of this, this is how much the person must spend. This is the person's budget every let me go up again. The person's budget every month. So every month this person pays out 11,800 Rand in expenses, and they only earn 16,000. So they have about 4,000 to spend, disposable income, right? But now that was previously. Now everything has gone up. And now the person is spending 13,000 on that. So now that's even less now. Now they only got 3,000. Before they had 4,500. Now they only got 3,000 disposable income. Which means that the inflation has increased. So now the bosses are now looking, okay, how much? There was a 10.76% increase in inflation in the person's expenses from before to now. So you would hope that this person would get a 10.76% increase, right? So that at least now they can still live on the same stuff without it affecting their disposable income. Now it says this person will, remember I said 10.76, you would hope, ne? This person will receive an annual salary increase of only 7.5%. That is 3.21% short on this increase in their cost of living. You see that? This is a little better than the national inflation rate. So the national inflation rate is only 6%. It went up by 6%. But has the financial position of this person stayed the same, improved, or worsened? And here you look at it. So the salary increase was 7.5% of their salary, which is 1,256 Rand, right? That is how much their salary increased. Remember, they want to give the person an increase of 7.5. So their money went up by 1,256 Rand. Now let's look at the living expenses. They took this 13,000 here, they minus that, and they got 1,277 Rand. So this person's salary increased by 1,256, but the living expenses increased by 1,277. So there was a 19 Rand 75, they still short. Now, it says, therefore, we can say that the financial situation has remained approximately the same. The difference, the paying short of 19 Rand 75 cents, is not significant, right? So, this person is okay. They can just spend one thing less or whatever, or tighten the belt a little bit more, less. Maybe let's say here you can't change, you can change your transport. You can maybe share cars, take a lift rather than taking the car everywhere you go, or take a taxi now and then. Groceries, you can maybe buy a little bit less groceries, or buy something cheaper than, don't go for the top brands, go for the second brand that is a bit cheaper, something like that. You can't change your medical insurance, you can't change your car insurance. You can't, you can save on some electricity, right? Switch off your geysers rather than, you can definitely save on clothing. You don't have to buy so much clothes every month. But that's me speaking. Some people might not agree with me. And then accommodation, you can't change. Accommodation is going to go up. See, it went up 3.2 and now it's 3.5. Your rent is going to increase all the time. Okay? So, they're saying it more or less stayed the same, so it's okay. Now, what are they doing here? They say to cover the increased costs, exactly. To cover this this amount that it increased. How are we going to do it? So they say, what percentage increase should this person actually need? So they need this amount, right? Remember, this is how much the money went up. So from what they used to spend to what they spend, what they spend now to what they used to spend, that is the amount that it actually increased, their cost of living increase. So they take this amount, the increase, and they put it over the original salary, which is that amount there. And then they multiply by 100 and they get 7.6%. It's here again, 7.6%. So now that means they're giving the person 7.5%. So if they just got 7.6%, that would be perfect. Then they would meet inflation perfectly. But the bosses are not going to budge. They're just going to give 7.5%, and they're going to say to their staff member, cut down on your cost, on your spending, right? Like I showed you earlier. So, notes, the inflation of the expenses does not mean the salary must increase by the same amount. Rather, it would depend on the original salary. For example, if the original salary was 15,000, then they would have needed an 8.5% increase to maintain their financial position. And this is why they say inflation, therefore, affects poorer people worse than richer people. Why do they say that? If it's 15, look here, this person earned 16,750. But if they were earning 15, they'd need a higher percent increase. So that is why if you earn less, you need a bigger increase to cope with your cost of living. And so that's why inflation affects poorer people worse than richer people. The richer people don't feel it. If all the inflation percentages of the listed items were averaged, there we go, they did that, and it was 10, divided by 7, 10,65. We see that this is different from the overall reported average at 10.76. This is due to each item having a different starting total. Okay, don't worry with that last part. Okay, and that is basically it. I would like you please to do the homework that says investment inflation, question 2, 3, and 4. Let me just go to it and just show you. Sorry, I should have opened it before this. Be with you now. Right, it is here, this one here. Now you did this one already on last week. Now it is this one. Just continue with this exercise. A person bought a house for 770,000. Now you've got another example to do. The amount borrowed, all of that. They ask you now read off the graph, right? Then, yeah, South Africa's consumer price inflation was recorded at so much. Assuming that the price of computers increased according to inflation, calculate what a basic computer should have cost in 2010 if it cost 5,000 in 2006. So they basically looking at if it cost so much in 2006, how much it went up by so much, went up by so much, went up by so much per year, right? So you need to work that out. So try and figure it out. Tomorrow I will send a working video that works out how this is done. A basic computer actually costs 4,200 in 2010. Does this mean that the inflation rate figures were wrong? Give a reason for your answer. Why did computer prices decrease over this period when food prices rose dramatically over the same period? There's one question. Below is a graph which shows the inflation rate for various years. Use it to answer the question which follows. Felicia looks at the graph and says, prices dropped from 2008 to 2010. She is incorrect. What is actually happening between 2008 and 2010? Do you remember? The prices are not dropping. The inflation rate is dropped and not the prices. Maybe it dropped at a smaller rate than this year when it increased so much. Year inflation increased terribly. There was also a steep increase, but there was no increase whatsoever. It actually, the prices increased, but not the inflation. What would the graph look like if there was an overall decrease in price in the year? In a year, you would have a negative balance. Do you remember that? But just have a look again. Miriam received an annual increase of 6% in her salary every year from 2004 to 2008. She went on strike in 2008 for a greater increase. Why did she do this? Okay, that's when she went on strike. Why? You must give an answer. So try and do that based on the two videos that I've posted, my video and another teacher's video. See if you can work it out. If not, I will help you guys again. Alright, so that is the homework, which I said here. Complete question 2, 3, and 4 in the homework, investment and inflation. And that is the end of today's lesson. So this is the last of the recorded videos for the week because you've got homework to do. So you can watch the other videos as I post it but I want to give you a chance to try and do it on your own. Okay, so if you're watching this on Tuesday, then it means that Wednesday I won't post a video, maybe Thursday, so that it gives you a chance to try and figure it out on your own. All right, or as you know, memo videos go up on the Friday. So thank you so much, grade 12s. Have a wonderful week further, and just keep watching inflation videos on YouTube so that you can understand from different teacher perspectives. Thank you and goodbye.